Hi, welcome to Last Week in Local with Mike Blumenthal and Carrie. Mary is sick today. I am back from vacation, although suffering, even though it's a great vacation, suffering immensely from jet lag, traveling 12 hours from 85 degrees, sort of sunny for 12, 14 hours a day to 25 degrees and sunny about 6 hours a day. Been a very difficult transition.
Bet.
So somehow it's like every 3 hours I think is lunchtime. So I don't know. By the
It
end of
is
this,
somewhere. It probably
it
is
is,
somewhere.
yeah, it is somewhere, but my body thinks it's body.
Here.
It's here now, right? So anyways, so back to local. Really, what is, the most bizarre and macabre local article I've read in a long time? Unfortunately, I didn't have it for Halloween, but this is at Harper's Magazine called Click Here to Kill by Brian Merchant. And it's a story about the deep dark web and how in the deep dark web, there's areas that Google doesn't index where Bitcoin is the sort of currency of exchange, and anonymity is the order of the day, about sites that purport to be able to hire. You can hire a contract killer to kill your ex-girlfriend, your wife. So far, what's fascinating is it was from the point of view of an IT person who specializes in figuring out who's running these and what breaking into them and stealing their data. And while the sites mostly are scam sites to separate wayward souls, wayward in quotes, from their money, they are indicators of people really having a strong intent and desire to kill somebody. In fact, one of the people who died was in Minnesota last year. The guy ended up killing herself because the hitman never showed up from the scam. But it's a very bizarre and twisted area of local. If you're looking for some dark reading, but
when you say bizarre, you mean bizarre.
Really bizarre. The title is Click Here to Kill. So if you're interested in the macabre or have somebody on your list you're not that happy with, you might think about it. Anyways. We've talked a lot about Amazon logistics, building out a complete logistics last mile to all the way to China chain with their own planes, their own boats. Anyways, new report out from Morgan Stanley indicates that they've more than doubled their share of package volumes from 20% a year ago and is shipping at a rate of 2.5 billion packages per year. For comparison, UPS and FedEx are shipping 4.7 and 3 billion packages per year, respectively. So it is projected that by 2022, they will surpass UPS and FedEx in package volume. Clearly, we've mentioned, I think 6 months ago or so, they were experimenting with doing logistics for major retailers as well. So, and they focus primarily on urban and suburban areas. So they're looking for the easiest, highest profit delivery to sort of make their splash. But clearly, they're gaining on UPS and FedEx and are now a big player and one of the biggest players in package delivery. I believe that they're going to roll those services out more broadly, not just to people on their platform, but to people not on their platform as well.
So, maybe I'm not understanding, but everything I buy from Amazon comes from USPS, FedEx, or UPS.
Yes, because you're a rural resident.
So you're talking about direct delivery via Amazon, like the Amazon car pulls up to your house and puts a box on your porch.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
The Amazon truck that's driven by a subcontractor doesn't get a time enough off to go to the bathroom, so he carries a bottle with him.
Or he carries the wrong credentials because he can't pass his background check.
Yes, something to that effect.
Which I think we talked about that when you were gone, but that was an interesting article as well.
Yeah. So anyways, on to other news. Interesting tweet from Theobald Ada, who works in the local SEO in the restaurant industry. He posted some images to Google for his restaurant, and Google automatically turned them into a Google post. Google has long in the restaurant industry done the opposite, where if you post a Google post, it would convert it to your image in the restaurant industry. So, but it looks like they're doing the opposite now, at least on some test basis. And this is a follow-up to an article we had several weeks ago about Google releasing incognito mode for maps. And apparently has been released on iOS, so you can try it. I haven't myself. We're going to have a deep dive about this that will come out later in the week or next week. But while I was on vacation, a reader sent me information about Google testing a review carousel in the local knowledge panel. It was, shoot, who was the fellow who sent it to me? I can't remember. I'm sorry. I was going to give him credit, and I totally forgot.
We'll give him credit in the deep dive.
Or we can give him credit on the website, both. But
yeah.
So this is an interesting feature that it seems to be semantically related to the search. We're going to have more conversation about it, but it seems to go beyond just review content in our exploration. And it's an interesting change to the way the knowledge graph business profile is presenting to the searcher. At localmarketinginstitute.com, I re-gave my Local U Advanced talk on the evolution of local business reviews. So if you're interested in where I see both the history, the present, and the future of the various stakeholders in the review space, you're interested in sort of seeing my opinion about that, you're welcome. It's there. It's both transcribed and video. If you've got an hour to waste, what do I know?
It's not a waste, it's research.
I enjoyed it, but it's hard for me to figure that too many other people want that much information, but maybe they do. Go at it, that's all I can say. And then my last little piece of news came out of the Google AdSense blog, creating a blog post creating outstanding website content in 3 steps. The post itself was not, it had some interesting tidbits. They talked about tools you could use to create content. They talk about Google Trends, which we've long talked about as a great way to understand at a local level language and trends in searches in any area you're looking for. But they mentioned 2 other tools that I found interesting. One was Google Question Hub, which I'd never heard of. Collects unanswered questions directly from users to identify content gaps online, and they document these, and then you can use the insights from these questions to create better content for your audience. Unfortunately, it isn't available in the United States. It's currently in Southeast Asia, sort of, I guess, the next billion users, but you can put your name in to be on the wait list, so you are notified when it does come. I just thought it was an interesting tool. And then the other was a product called Market Finder, which uncovers new opportunities to take your business global. It analyzes monthly searches, popular market trends, disposable income per capita, and number of internet users by country to help you prioritize where your product, service, and content will appeal most. It will pinpoint a short list of promising new target markets for your brand and extend your site's content to international users. So basically, it's a very simple tool. It sounds complicated. Very simple tool. You put your domain in. It develops a list of categories of products that it thinks you can do well with and suggests those as areas for expanding content. So I don't know that, I think a well thought out website may give you back, those product categories, but it's going to give them to you, I believe, in order of sort of market value, which is an interesting way to look at it. So I haven't explored it deeply. I just found this tool this morning. So I would like to know if people find it useful.
Yeah, I just stuck Local U in there just to see what came up. And it, like in order, their search engine optimization, training and certification, visual art and design, and web design and development. So visual art and design, But the
Right,
rest
but
of them
they
seem to
let
be,
you, and they let you remove that though, and add
yeah,
additional categories.
yep.
Um, so yeah, it's interesting. It gives you a sense of how Google sees your site, and in how it sees your site in relation to market opportunities.
Well, and then once you confirm the categories and click through, it tells you what countries, what markets are recommended, and like how much you should bid on AdWords in that country, and the ease of doing business rank,
I see.
and what the household net disposable income is. This is interesting to me. I hadn't, when we talked about it in the pre-talk, I hadn't clicked further in. This is interesting. Huh,
Yep.
cool.
So with that, over to you.
Awesome. So there's an article over at Sterling Sky. How do you get a branded Google Map pin? 5 facts you need to know, which these new branded pins have been showing up for a bit now. Joy wrote this. And basically it's just kind of how to, like, what you need to consider before you get them. The biggest being you have to have 10 plus locations and spend $1,000 a day. So this is obviously something for, enterprise brands, bigger companies. But because they're surfacing these branded pins now in navigation,
Right, turn
um,
right at Burger King.
yeah, I think it's worth looking at if you have that capability, if you have that size of an account, if you have more than 10 locations, I would definitely look into
It,
those branded
if you
pins.
have the kind of product that's a more spontaneous purchase product.
Yeah, a restaurant,
Yeah,
shopping, those types of things for sure, I think. Conven-
CVS, Rite Aid,
yeah,
Burger King.
convenience stores, those types of things for sure.
Yeah,
Tom Wadding,
speaking of convenience stores, fascinating that one of the leading convenience store brands in Thailand is 7-Eleven.
really?
Yes,
Hmm, that's interesting. That is interesting.
who knew?
Who knew? You think they'd have something different, right? Um, Tom Waddington posted on Twitter about a change in business listings. Now Google is showing an areas served kind of option right towards the top of the listing. You can click on it and it lists all of the areas that you've listed in your Google My Business dashboard as your service areas. They recently limited that to 20, and now they're surfacing it in the business listing, which I think is interesting. It's behaving kind of oddly. It seems like you have to find it and then do a few more searches, and then you see it everywhere. But I've not seen it, then seen it, then not seen it, then seen it on the same listing multiple times. So it's obviously a test. I hope it stays just from anything to help service area businesses kind of do their work. I would hope that eventually it would affect if they rank in those areas. Like, as somebody who is affected by service area business, hoo-ha, that definitely would make me happy. um,
Don't hold your breath.
I
But
know I'm not going to hold it at all when it comes to that. Mary gave me a link to a tool this morning. She's sick, by the way, but we'll be back next week. Local Viking is a tool that helps you manage your Google My Business. They do posts. You can post your Google My Business posts via there. You can track your 3-pack rankings specifically, and then manage your Google My Business from one dashboard. I haven't used this, and I was looking at the features. The thing that looks most enticing to me is the Google Posts, because apparently it lets you post the same content to multiple accounts. That's what their feature says, which some tools are restricting that or don't let you do that. There's some problems there. But it's definitely worth a look if you're interested in that kind of a tool. Eric Chanfel over at Local Marketing Institute announced last week that his resource is now free for everyone. There's a lot of information in the Local Marketing Institute, a lot of webinars and things like that. So it's a good resource to kind of have under your belt if you're looking for training in any way, shape, or form. Bright Local came out with their local consumer review survey for 2019, and there's interesting things in there. The most interesting piece that I pulled out of that was that among consumers that read reviews, 97% of those read the business's response to those reviews. And so that really tells me how important it is to be reading your reviews and responding to those reviews, be they good ones or bad ones. I think you should respond to all of them in a fairly timely manner. I think consumers look for that. They want to know that you're involved beyond that they took my money and now they want me to go away kind of aspect, right?
Yeah, certainly I mean, there's a lot of indications that responding to reviews is a positive and constructive activity for business. There appears to be a bump in average rating, a small bump in average rating. Research that I did several years ago indicated that that people expect it. I think roughly 30% of the respondents to a survey I did said that they took the time to leave a review. They expected a response, positive or negative. I've been experimenting at GatherUp with responding to every review as a tactic, but also to understand the burden and the load. And it isn't, given that most of these tools are mobile, it's the kind of thing you can literally do while watching TV at night. And I've also been working on how do you respond differently to every review without sort of glad handing, right? I mean, how many times can you say thank you, without it sounding insincere? And so I've been trying to work through responding, taking what they say, giving it back to them a little bit, responding to that specifically, and trying to respond to every review. That being said, businesses might find themselves shorthanded, and they might have to develop some sort of triage method. In other words, where if they're going to respond to just negative reviews, perhaps that would be the worst case. I think the least you should be doing. If you are responding to just some positive reviews, it might be reviews where you could add additional context or solve problems or special thank you to them for noticing something. But I think you need to absolutely, every business should be thinking about how they can do this and what it's going to take to do it.
Well, and I think I talk a lot about brand building and community building. And I think if you show a customer that you care beyond the transaction, like, okay, I did your thing, you gave me money, we're done. And if you show them, hey, I care what you think about what we did and I want to respond to you the next time they need your product or service, who are they going to think of to go to for it? The people that took care of them, the people that had a conversation with them beyond the transaction. I think it's so important for cultivating that recurring business.
Right. And as Aaron at Woike has pointed out to me, it's a customer touch point now, because whether it's Facebook or Google or your own reviews through GatherUp, the email goes back out to the customer that you've responded to them, and they know that now, that it's not just sitting out there for other users, it's for that specific user. So it's a way to thank them for both their patronage and their review.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I agree.
Yep.
I think it's really important. Just hard to do.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have the personnel to handle it, right?
Well, or a system, right? I mean, you could be centralizing it through some sort of online software. You could be, like I said, doing it at night through your phone. But you have to come up with a way so you can consistently and regularly do it.
Right, for sure. And the last thing I have is Danny Sullivan announced on Twitter that speakable markup for voice search or voice response is not only for Google News anymore. And so I've kind of been noodling about, does that mean we should be doing something with it for local, like for asking our phones to tell us where's the nearest coffee shop? Is there something we can do with that speakable markup to help our clients?
Is there some place on the dark web I can kill my wife?
Yeah, right. We should look and see if they have speakable markup there. Who knows? That would be kind of counterintuitive with the Big Brother speakers in all our houses, it seems like.
It does seem a little self-incriminating. Yeah,
right? Somebody's listening. Anyway, I don't exactly know what it means for local business yet, but I've been kind of noodling and thinking on it. If anybody's listening has any thoughts around it, I'd love for you to reach out to me on Twitter at Carrie Hill and tell me what you think it means for local business or how we could use it. Because I'm thinking, like, do we mark up products and services and addresses with this speakable markup? Does it help when we ask for, hey, what's the name of a coffee shop near me? Where can I get where can I fax something in Glenwood Springs because nobody has fax in their house anymore? Those types of weird queries. Is there something I can ask my phone or something I can put on a website so that when I ask my phone, it's more likely to show up? I don't know what the answer to that is, but it's interesting development.
So in my clouded, jet-lagged brain, I think, did I forget to mention the email benchmark and engagement study from SunGrid?
I think you did. I don't think you mentioned that. Go back to that because I'm
going
done.
to go back to it.
Yep.
If worst cases, I will have covered it twice.
Yes.
Um,
Go for it.
Anyway,
I'm done.
every year, SendGrid, which is sort of the largest email backbone product that is used by most email systems, has this annual email benchmark and engagement study. It's worth taking a look at. But there were two things in it that I thought were particularly important. One was that across all study participants, 96% responded that they would like somewhere between a couple of sentences and a few paragraphs of content in the emails they receive. Almost no recipients want no content or more than 4 paragraphs. And this has been reinforced for me in some of the email work we've been doing at GatherUp, where, a couple of paragraphs and a call to action, a couple of paragraphs and an image and a call to action, simple, straightforward, clear communicating kind of things seem to be resonate the most. I thought that was an interesting. The other was which was around personalization of emails, which everybody wants. Over 60% of participants prefer to tell companies exactly what kinds of email they're interested in right when they provide their email address for the first time. An additional 24% of respondents said they'd be interested in a survey emailed immediately afterward to garner the same information. So one of the things I think that you want to give people, if you are personalizing and have multiple lists, give people the choice early on in that sign-in process as to what they want to get.
Yeah, instead of just, we consent to get emails from you, let them say, I want promotional, or I want newsletter, or I want new products only, kind of let them segment themselves for you. I mean, why not? Because they've already have the intent of signing up. Why not let them segment themselves for you? That's less work you have to do down the road. It's done.
Exactly. So with that, I just want to thank you for another fun Last Week in Local. And if I repeated myself, I apologize.
I don't think you did. I think
I think we are good. All right. Well, with that, goodbye. Thanks for joining us.
Bye, everybody.